Hello. I'm Brian Martin, and I want to welcome you to the reading of my book, Oxytocin is the O in Love. And it's the third of four books in a love series that I have written. The two that you know about, if you've been following me, is the first of all, what I call the L book. You're gonna think this is funny, right? Kindness is the most powerful little thing in the world. Three types of transformational kindness for everyone. Now, this is the L book, and you say, now what is it about the L that you call it the L book? Well, it's because it's about little things. The L in love is about little things, and this is really a great book about little things and how they enhance your relationship. And then the other book that I talked to you about is my ebook on the other end of the word love. Eternity is the E in love, experiencing meaning and change your world with the power of love. And that's a really fun book also. Now, today I'm going to be reading to you from the O book, and it's the section on pleasuring. So now don't get all excited because I know it's Saturday morning, and we're talking about pleasuring, and and you may want to listen before you jump to any conclusions about this. So far in this book, we've covered five separate topics. Let me just review them for you. The first one is discovering the necessity of creating safety in a relationship in order to enhance your closeness. This book is all about enhancing your emotional connectedness in your relationships. And creating safety is a number one thing that you can do. Next, we talked about the importance of controlling your thoughts and how you can do that. The third thing was how we can eliminate 100% of the negativity in our lives. Yes, 100% of the negativity in your brain, what goes through your head. What would it be like if you only thought about the opposite of negative things? By the way, here is a test to see if you've been paying attention. What is the opposite of negative thinking? Think about that. Dot, 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 dot. Okay, clue. It's not positivity. It's not. The opposite of negative thinking is loving thoughts. Now, what would it be like in your relationship with your significant others, your family, the people that you care about the most, if you only thought loving thoughts about them all the time? And I know you're raising your hand up and you're saying, wait, Brian, wait. That's impossible. But you don't know until you try. And when you can control your negative thoughts, it's going to make a huge difference in your emotional connections with people. Then we talked about how important it was to honor our differentiated selves. That's honoring the gifts, the skills, the talents, and tools that your people in your life have. Honor them. And then the next one was to honor to become a loving person. Now, you may say, well, I am a loving person. No, I mean that your primary identity in the world is, quote, I am a loving person. Now, you're going to say, but I am many, many things, and it's true. You have this wonderful diamond, and there are different aspects of you. I am a husband. I am a Christian. I'm a Buddhist. I'm this. I'm that. I'm a father. I'm a working person. All those are aspects of your identity, but they are not your central core identity. And the way that you can enhance your relationships and strengthen your emotional connectedness with other people is by becoming a loving person authentically from the heart, organically, 100% of the time with every single person in your life. You're just a loving person. Now, you can do that. You really can. And then the last section, and I'm on the last section now, is pleasuring. Now, pleasuring is the icing on the cake, and it is it. Some people like to think that pleasuring is an event that happens. It's like making love. It's pleasuring. Now, if that's what your thought about pleasuring is, then you need to read my book because pleasuring is about this: being a constant source of delight for the other, a constant source. So today I'm picking up on the pleasuring section, and the section is called Pleasuring Actions. So are you ready? Here we go. I don't know what you think about when you think of pleasuring actions, but I think about rubbing Jennifer's feet. I would like you to know that I do not have a foot fetish. I do not particularly like having my feet rubbed. But rubbing Jennifer's feet gives her so much pleasure that I will always rub her feet whenever she asks. Always in capital letters and an apostrophe right there. Always. It would be a cold day in hell before I deny her this little pleasure. Other than loving on her grandchildren, there's nothing on earth that gives more pleasure to Jennifer than her feet rubbed. Now, you may be wondering about other more intimate ways that we pleasure, ... But that is not the subject of this book. LOL, capital LOL. Although, as you read about, as you will read about next, rubbing feet can be pretty sexy. It is seriously true that a good foot rub can be the highlight of her day. And here's how it works. Are you ready? Oh, for those of you who just tuned in, you're in perfect time. Stay right here because this is a really, really good part. Jennifer and I will be watching TV together. She's sitting on the couch adjacent to where I'm sitting on the other couch when suddenly she will look up at me with that big smile, that big Jennifer smile that says without words, quote, "Honey, I'd love to have my feet rubbed," end of quote. It is what some call a bid for attention. And I, of course, have been trained to recognize such a wanting glance and bid for attention, and I, without uttering a word, pat the empty place on the couch next to me, indicating, "Sure, come on over and I'll rub your feet." Then, faster than the speed of light, I find her naked feet in my lap, her body tense with anticipation, and I proceed to rub her feet. I knead her feet like a ball of dough. Softly and firmly, my hand manipulates the ball of her feet. Then, with the back of my fingertips, I gently draw my fingertips across the expanse, the bottom of her feet, and it tickles and makes her flinch. She smiles at me with delight as I massage the arch of her foot. Next, I rub the pad of her foot firmly, making sure that the force of my rubbing is not too hard. She'll tell me, "Easier," if I am too firm. Next, I take my fingers and I rub between her toes, each one individually. I continue to work that foot until she purrs like a perfectly satisfied cat. And then it's on to the next foot. Sometimes her eyes are closed and her face is aglow, and I see that teenage girl that I first loved all those years ago. Sometimes her eyes are wide open and she'll give me direction about where to rub and how firm or easy to do it. What makes the experience better is lotion. But these sessions are often spontaneous, and lotion in the other room can wait until another time. Sometimes I'll get up and go get the lotion. That's extra special. I will rub her feet until my hands fatigue from the massaging. I'll let her know that I'm done with a gentle pat on the bottom of her feet, and she'll move around until she's under my arm and we snuggle for a while. Both our brains are swimming in a sea of oxytocin, after a good foot rubbing. What do you think that does for our emotional connection? The goal is to be physically pleasuring each other throughout the day. We begin and end each day in our California king size bed. We work long, intense days, and we look forward to our skin to skin contact every night. Sometimes we talk and giggle and laugh, and sometimes we fall asleep almost before our heads hit the pillow. We scooch each other close. Some people call it spooning. Our bodies fit perfectly together. We switch back and forth from our left side to our right side. The one on the outside of the spoon takes the free arm and pulls the inside one closer and softly caresses the other. We find ourselves switching from the right side to the left side throughout the night. Alternatively, we support each other back to back. It's only when we are unconscious in deep sleep that we're not close to each other, or when things get too hot. Sometimes we are surprised to wake up from a deep sleep and find ourselves in the middle of an unexpected night passion. When we're not deeply asleep, we're consciously skin to skin most of the night. There's a lot of physical touching. It contributes significantly to our emotional connection. We touch and pat and kiss and hug throughout the day. We will intentionally bump into each other and feign an apology. Oh, I'm sorry, but we're really not. When we come or go, we kiss or we hug more often than not. We are publicly affectionate. And I don't mean that we're all over each other, making out in front of God and everybody. Well, maybe we did that when we were much younger. Now we only think about it and wish we could, LOL. We greet each other spontaneously with hugs and kisses, even at the office. Sometimes we hear people say, "Ah, isn't that cute?" When we walk together, it's often hand in hand. Jennifer and I are very intentional about pleasuring acts. When I was leaving the house today, we kissed, which reminds me, Jennifer has the most wonderful smiles for me. Obviously, people forget to smile at each other. I'd say that 95% of the time when she looks at me, she smiles. I'm not as good at smiling as Jennifer is. I guess I'm only at 75%. Her smile not only conveys her pleasuring thoughts, they are instructive to me. She reminds me to smile when I am not. Smiles are pleasuring acts and a key way to enhance your emotional connection. Jennifer and I know the correlation between pleasuring acts and a deep emotional connection. We consider it essential to maintaining a strong relationship. And besides, it's a good example for others. And that ends the section on pleasuring. Isn't that delightful? Now look, I'm going to end a little bit early today. We're approaching the 15-minute mark, and recently I've been going for 25, 27 minutes, something like that. But we're getting near to the end of this book. And I want to save the summary and the conclusion for our next session. But after the summary and the conclusion is another section that I'm going to be sharing with you as well. So it looks like we'll have 2 more sessions together of reading Oxytocin is the O in love. I'm Brian Martin, and this book is not available yet on at book outlets like the others are, but it will be soon. And you can view it and my other books and my spiritual video blog, What Was Jesus Thinking, at the link that is going to be there in a few minutes. I didn't put it on yet, but it's going to be there. So I wish you a wonderful day. And I'm Brian Martin. And God bless you. And I love you. Oops.